My name is Richard Adoraddio. I'm a 45-year-old singer-songwriter from the San Francisco Bay Area. My oldest son, Anthony, is 21. My youngest son, Tim, 17, both musicians. We live in Campbell, California, in the Santa Clara Valley, about an hour south of San Francisco. I have a business called Thriving Artist and a small recording studio. Here I've gotten to meet and work with some of our area's most talented performers. Pretty much my whole life revolves around music now, ever since my mother passed away 4 years ago. And shortly after, I started an open mic night on Thursdays at the Blue Rock Shoot in Saratoga. That's where I met my friend Phyllis, a massage therapist and a healer. She generously offered to pay my way to Sweden to attend some classes there. When my friend Ali found out I'd be in Europe the same time as him, he suggested we go to Sicily together and find our roots. The 4 days of classes in Sweden went by very quickly. Attending were 63 people, mostly women and mostly Scandinavians, although a few of us were from the US and Canada. The classes were led by Shawnee West, founder of White Time Healing. And although I didn't know much about White Time Healing and felt a little out of place at first, I soon felt right at home, making many new friends. And even though I was thousands of miles away from my own home and from the Blue Rock Shoot and its Thursday night open mic, somehow I had managed to bring it to Sweden with me. I spent the summer of 2003 backpacking through Europe, meeting many new people. Among them, Caroline from Sweden, who was traveling with her good friend Sarah. It had now been 4.5 years since those 2 fun-filled days we all spent together in Ireland. Caroline lives in the city of Malmö, which is about a half-hour's train ride across the bridge connecting Sweden to Copenhagen, Denmark. Caroline's a nursing student, but would rather be traveling the world, which she's done much of in her 27 years. We spent the next 2 days sharing with each other all about our travels and about things that had been happening in each of our lives over the past several years. Some of those things difficult to hear, such as Caroline's battle with cancer that she had fought and won the previous summer.
Hi, I'm Debbie. I'm from London, and this has been an incredibly enriching experience to bring all these people together. And
I have other friends from the same trip in 2003 that I was looking forward to seeing again, like my friend Debbie, who organized a conference that I politely crashed in Amsterdam, as well as my friends Luke and Sarah, who were kind enough to let me sleep on their hotel room floor 3 sweltering hot days in Budapest. It seemed like only days had passed since I last saw Luke and Sarah, and yet here they were again, taking me in, this time into their world and their new home. My friend Ali never did make it to London, but by this point I had enough time to figure out that I did want to go to Sicily to see if I had family there after all. I spent part of my last day in Camden Town, an area of London known for its open-air markets and quaint little shops. I also spent some time at the British Museum, reflecting on all the lives throughout history that had come before me. As the Bodhidharma once said, all know the way, but few actually walk it. As I boarded the plane for Sicily, the Bodhidharma's eyes were not the last to leave an impression on me in London.
Palermo.
I arrived in Palermo at night, and thanks to a Danish couple that I met on the train from the airport, I managed to find a hotel room close to the train station. The next morning, I set out to find what would not only be my home for the next 7 days, but also a key in my quest to find family in Sicily. What was mere rubble 3 years earlier was now beautifully restored. And when I shared my story with the owners, they insisted on giving me an apartment and made me promise not to tell anyone how little I was paying. Unfortunately, I locked my keys in between the security doors, but they wouldn't let me pay for that either. It seemed as if behind every new door that I opened in Palermo was yet another friendly face waiting to help me, as if good friends from another lifetime waiting to be found. A city that really does take its stray dogs in. But finding friends was not the reason I came to Palermo, and my time was running out. On Thursday, January 24th, at 4:30 p.m., I met the first of my Sicilian family, the Aronadios. With them, a letter telling the history of our family and how Francesco Adoraddio, a revolutionary fighting against Spain in Calabria, fled to Palermo and changed his name to Adoradio in 1810. And how my great-aunt Angie had been there for 3 days back in 1955, the last contact they had with the American branch of our family, a small branch started by Vincenzo, Francesco's youngest son, who maintained the name Adoradio when he moved his wife and children to the United States around 1860. The two older men that brought these documents with them were the sons of Ettore, grandson of Giuseppe, Vincenzo's oldest brother. This is the part of our family that I would get to know and love, and who would take me in as their own during my stay in Palermo. We spent about the next hour or so going over these documents, adding names and dates, and eliminating question marks that had been there for many decades. With the help of an interpreter friend of theirs, we were able to communicate. However, words were not needed to express the sheer joy that all of us were feeling at the discovery of new family. On Saturday morning at 8:30, Andrea, the younger of the two older men, along with his son Antonio, picked me up for a day of sightseeing, bringing with them 3 books for my travels, all signed by Andrea and his 2 sons. The first place that they brought me was to see a couple of banyan trees, the oldest in all of Sicily, planted ironically around the time that my great-great-grandfather Vincenzo left Palermo. Next, they showed me the house where not only Andrea and his brother Francesco were raised, but also their father and their grandfather as well. Then they brought me to the cemetery below Mount Pellegrino. And here they showed me the grave of my great-great-great-grandfather, Francesco, born in Calabria as Aronadio, but who at 19, as a revolutionary, fled to Palermo to seek a new life with a new name, Adoradio, in 1810. Eventually, all of Francesco's family that remained in Sicily went back to the original surname, Aronadio, as can be seen by the family grave site of his oldest son, Giuseppe. A very windy road brought us to the top of Mount Pellegrino, in search of Santa Rosalia, the patron saint of Sicily, who spent her time dwelling in a cave high above the Mediterranean Sea. In some ways, it had been as if I was dwelling in a cave, thousands of miles away in California, missing out not only on all these spectacular views and breathtaking cathedrals of Palermo, but missing out on the familiarity of faces, of family that I had yet come to know. I was invited to a family dinner in my honor on Sunday at 5 p.m. at Andrea and his wife Anna's house. Here I saw photographs of his parents, Margherita and Ettore, his father having fought in both World War I and as a colonel in World War II, where he was held prisoner by the Americans in North Africa. Being the family historian that Andrea is, it seemed appropriate that introductions to my family in America occur here.
Mi chiamo Francesco Adoraddio, sono ben felice di averti conosciuto. Ti prego portare ai tuoi parenti, che considero anche i miei parenti che sono attualmente in California, il mio più affettuoso saluto e con la speranza che possiamo anche ritrovarci, rivederci in avvenire a Palermo o altrove. Tante cose.
Ciao, sono la moglie di Francesco Adoraddio e mi chiamo Rosaria e sono felicissima di aver conosciuto Richard.
Grazie.
È un simpaticissimo ragazzo e si vede proprio che ha lo stampo degli Aronadio.
Un bel naso.
Arrivederci.
Io sono Margherita Aronadio e saluto tutte le sorelle e il fratello di Richard. Un bacione dall'Italia, Palermo, Sicilia. Richard, tu tornare in Italia da noi con i tuoi figli, andiamo a mare, nuotare, sole. Ciao.
Grazie. Allora, sta finendo la batteria, mi devo sbrigare. Ho ritrovato negli Aronadio finalmente una persona con cui vado d'accordo, la musica, e tra l'altro la musica che mi piace, che è la musica country, la musica americana, il blues, il rock e questa forma americana di suonare che a me mi ha sempre contraddistinto. Margherita fa musica italiana e io...
Ciao Richard, mi ha fatto piacere anch'io incontrare te. Io sarei e sono la mamma del marito di una degli Aronadio, vedi che storia lunga. Ed è veramente un canterino mio figlio, canterino come te Richard.
Piccolo.
Noi ti vogliamo tutti bene, ti aspettiamo ancora
Ok.
quando verrai.
I am Giuseppe Aronadio, and say you, Aronadio, Adoradio, the best family in the world.
Yeah! Woohoo!
Ciao.
Ciao a tutti, siamo Sonia e Felicia, la moglie di Giuseppe Aronadio e la figlia, la piccola, di Giuseppe. Siamo contenti di aver conosciuto questo parente americano, felicissimi di sapere che gli Aronadio sono anche all'altra parte del mondo. Pensavamo ci fossero solo questi pochini qua a Palermo. Vi salutiamo e vi aspettiamo di nuovo qua da noi. Ciao.
Ciao!
Dillo, ciao!
Ciao, sono Sara, la figlia di Giuseppe Adoraddio. Oggi ho conosciuto Richard e mi ha fatto piacere.
Grazie.
Although his father and sister couldn't make it, Francesco somehow managed to get there on his own.
Ciao, sono Andrea da Palermo. Andrea Aronadio. Mi ha fatto tanto piacere la venuta di Richard a Palermo.
Torna presto! Torna presto!
Ciao Richard, sono Ettore, dall'Italia. Ciao Richard, ciao America.
At one point, Andrea handed me the phone and introduced me to his daughter Margherita, who is living in Rome.
Lui viene in Italia. Devo levantare. Ciao, io sono Antonio Aronadio, un cugino di Richard. Ciao.
I didn't think things could get any better than the orangini, my new favorite Sicilian food. But they did. I discovered that, like myself, my family here in Sicily were almost all musical. My cousin Margherita's husband Pippo, having been a professional musician in Rome many years ago. We hit it off well together musically, and he was determined to find us a gig for Tuesday, my final night in Palermo. And with determination and more friendly, helpful faces, we found a gig at Jazz and Chocolate. We ended our perfect evening with an even more perfect Sicilian dessert and a toast to the Aronadios of Italy and the Adoradios of America. May we again be one. The next morning, Andrea, this time accompanied by his oldest son, Ettore, took me sightseeing within the city that I believe has more beauty per square foot within it than any other place on earth. Exquisite treasures, delicately crafted and meticulously maintained for centuries by countless thousands of artists whose name I may never know, but whose lives and inner beauty I could plainly see. As I spent my final hours wandering the streets of Palermo, hearing names cried loudly in the open-air marketplaces, distinguishing people from the crowd, I realized that a name is merely a costume, a life we take on, making it our own.